Today we are going to cover the cleaning procedures for Clear-Com external equipment surfaces. The CDC suggests sanitation can lower germs to a safe level. Make sure that as you grab your equipment, you are powering it all off. And if possible, unplug it from its power supply. For today's cleaning, I'll be using a solution that is 1 part isopropyl alcohol and 1 part water. Please stay away from harsh cleaners. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. Here we've got the Clear-Com iris panel. Let's be sure to not spray anything directly on the device. Take your spray bottle and your microfiber cloth and spray directly onto the cloth. You want the cloth to be damp but not wet. All right, so we have these in our studio, so it's not necessarily that you're going to be able to always remove this from its location. Right now, we have the privilege of removing it. So, since we can, we're going to make sure we get all surfaces on it. We're going to clean where the rack screws go on the ears. And now let's focus more on the knobs themselves. So the iris panel is different because it has knobs instead of up and down levers. So you're gonna wanna make sure, and I'm just gonna take this to a single layer of this cloth to get all sides of that lever. Any surface on this that will be frequently touched by people, we should make sure that we are cleaning thoroughly. And once they're done, you can see that they're a little bit shinier. That lets me know that I didn't put too much on them. I don't see liquid forming on them. Finally, we've got these last silicone buttons here. So I'm just gently pressing on them with the damp cloth, any surface there, and then the actual LED buttons here, going through and getting this on those as well. That is the iris panel. Next, we have the 1RU lever panel. It's the V-Series panel. It's very standard. A lot of people have this in their control rooms. I'm going to re-dampen my microfiber cloth. And with this one, you have to be very careful of the levers themselves. Obviously, if you're in a high stress environment, you're used to pressing them up and down really quickly at a rapid speed or at a high force level. But when we're cleaning, we wanna make sure that we're not being too hard on them. So with this one, we wanna make sure we get the top of the lever and the bottom of the lever. So I'm gonna do that on each of these. This panel also has some knobs on either side, so I'm going to lift this up a little bit, get these knobs, and then again, the silicone buttons. There's also volume levers at each of these stations that I'm going to get as well. That is the lever panel. Now, a lot of you need to be wireless. Let's clean a FreeSpeak belt pack. You saw me with this earlier. We use these all the time in our studio, and these are the things that are most easily passed around. While each is programmable for a role, oftentimes we have different people operating different roles. So we want to make sure that when we're handing this belt pack off, that we're giving it in a sanitized fashion. So again, microfiber cloth and spray. I'm going to spray this, get it nice and damp. With these, we've got silicone buttons, so we want to be very sensitive with them. The buttons are the main piece of this equipment that is going to be pressed. So while we can take care of the screen as well, we want to make sure that the full surface area of the buttons have been cleaned from person to person. There are also the buttons on the very front. You've got power, reply, and menu. So let's make sure those buttons are good to go. And then your volume knobs on the side, give those a once or twice around in the circle. Nice. Now I feel comfortable handing this to the producer. Last but certainly not least, let's go over some actual on-body equipment, headsets. We have 2 different kinds here that we use at LiveX. We've got the Clear-Com or CC300 and the CC110. So the CC110 is slightly smaller, CC300 slightly bigger, numbers 300, 100, you know. So for these, there's more options than simply cleaning with the microfiber cloth. So I'm gonna start by doing that on the surfaces that we cannot alter. So I've got more spray on my cloth, pieces that are gonna be touched often by people. Let's start with the 4-pin end. Make sure that we are not getting that in the pins, but make sure that we're getting all around that piece so that anyone who's touching it is clear. Sometimes people put the cable like through their shirt so that they have good cable management. So let's make sure we just run along this as well. We give it a little more spray here. Now let's get the headset itself. So we'll start with the top. Top, obviously, that sits on the top of someone's head. Hopefully you're working with a team of people who have good personal hygiene. This still doesn't hurt to clean as well. Always good to practice cleaning procedures in your control room during any type of live show or any type of taped show. You don't know who's going to pick up a headset when. You don't know if you previously wore this, so it's good even when it's the same person using it multiple times. So now that we've cleaned the CC110, I'm gonna move on to cleaning the CC300, and then I'll show you that there are some pieces on each of those that you can buy replacement parts for. So we start at the top here again for the CC300. Make sure you're taking care of that. Make sure you're taking care of the side that goes above the ear because it's also sitting on the scalp. The earpiece, I did not yet get the end of this one and the cable itself. All right, one thing we did not talk about yet, the microphone. The microphone on each of these is obviously very close to someone's mouth, and if it is not touching their mouth, it is likely that they at least spit on it at some point. I know that's a little bit of an overshare, but we know we all do it. So we can gently dab this with the same solution on both of these. Now, with the earpieces, there are actually replacement parts that you can purchase. So I've got a few examples here. We've got ear cuffs. So what these do is they can gently fit around the outside of the CC300. And you saw how easy that was. They safely guard your ear from the leather earpiece itself. So these can be interchangeable. You can keep it for yourself. You can throw it away every time. That's a little wasteful, but as far as cleanliness goes, this is going to be the easiest way to cover the ear. Let's talk a little bit quickly before we finish about the matrix frame. A matrix frame may not need cleaning as often as a headset or belt pack because it comes in contact with people less. Thank you so much for watching this cleaning video. My name is Aubrey and I'm a producer here at LiveX. We use all of these pieces of equipment as we pulled these out of our master control room to make this video for you today. Please make sure that you're following all safety guidelines with equipment and that you keep your control room as clean as possible. Thanks for watching.